I welcome you all to our orientation. That is National Council of Private School Teachers. Today marks the first day of our program. And since it's the first day, it is in the form of orientation. And we welcome all participants. We welcome teachers who are on board. We welcome schools who have assembled their teachers in one classroom joining our orientation. We thank God we've been able to set up our devices. I will start by giving the steps to be able to join our program. Schools are advised to assemble their teachers in one classroom. If they have a projector, they can join via the projector using our Zoom link, as we have done today. The number is increasing, and we are waiting for more schools and teachers to join. We don't have much time because in 40 minutes, we will end our training and enroll the second cohort. Without much ado, I will just let schools to know that when you set up your system and your teachers are in one classroom, they can all join the session. It's very good you add laptop speaker so that your teachers can hear what is being taught. Also, one teacher can join, probably a head teacher can join with his phone so that through that phone, teachers can ask questions. Apart from that, schools without projector, they can all join once they are all in one classroom. Then individually, they can ask their questions. All right. Today we have in our midst Mr. John Agbe, one of our master trainers, Akasa Gladys, one of our master trainers. Without much ado, I will introduce them. Mr. John, please, are you online? Mr. Agbe, please, are you online? Please unmute yourself and talk. All participants have been muted, but if you want to talk, you need to unmute yourself. Okay. So, John Agbe, if you're online,
yes, I'm online.
Yourself. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm online. So, I just want to get
kindly introduce yourself, please. That is Mr. John Agbe. We are going to use only 5 minutes to introduce schools, not individuals. Any head teacher representing a school, if you're a teacher and you're representing a school, you can just mention your name and the school name and the school location. All right. On the list, we have Latif, Abdul Latif. Can you tell us your school and where you're joining us from?
Okay, I'm Abdul Latif. I'm representing North Hills International School, North Legon.
North Legon, you are welcome. Thank you very much. We have Breku Benevolence Breku. And where are you joining us from and your school name?
Please, I'm joining you from OTC. The school name is.
Okay, you are welcome. Daniel Kojo Afran, your school name and where you are joining us from?
Mamanya Paradise Junction.
Please come again.
Mighty Royal Model School is the name of my school. Then we are joining you from Mamanya Paradise Junction.
All right. What with iPhone? Okay, sorry. The Vida, please. Vida Johnson. Your school name and where you're joining us from.
From Dodowa.
I hope your teachers are assembled. Solomon Agbavo. Your school name and where you're joining us from.
School name, North Hills International School, North Legon.
Okay, you're welcome. We don't have much time, so let's move on straight. The rest, you'll join the PLC group and then you tell us more about your school so we can keep records. We are advising all schools to send us list of teachers and their contacts. Thank you very much. All right, Mr. John Agbe, can you show your screen? As I said earlier, Mr. John Agbe is one of our trainers and is the one going to take us through today's orientation. So we will not waste much time. Mr. John, please, are you online? Show your screen, please. You can unmute yourself and then you show your screen.
All right.
So please, Mr. John Agbe will take over for me. Take over. I will be muting all the participants in case the classroom is noisy. Then, if it affects John Agbe, try to unmute yourself and continue in the teaching and learning process. Now, let me add this before Agbe comes in. Today is orientation. Next 2 weeks, we will start our actual PLC program, where we are doing general PLC topic known as classroom management. But today is orientation to know more about what PLC is actually. Thank you very much. Mr. Agbe, take over.
Okay. Thank you once again, and good afternoon to you all, wherever this time space may find you. I'd like to welcome all of you to this nationwide PLC section. And in this section today, as earlier indicated, we'll be delving into what PLC is. So this training resource or training manual that you and I find ourselves that we are going to share in this learning, it's outsourced from some agencies. And without much ado, we'd like to acknowledge their relevant contribution to this material. And for that matter, the Ministry of Education, and I know you can identify most of the logos, Ghana Education Service, the National Curriculum for Assessment, the NACA, the NTC, UNICEF, NCOPS, for which that's the organization agency, NATS, and other open educational resources. So these are the agencies that have outsourced the materials that we are going to go through or going to learn. So PLC. And I'm very glad, as by now I know you should be having your writing notes, your pen, either you have a digital device that you want to record, or you wish to use a notepad, a writing book, a notebook. Please get yourself a writing material and a writing tool, either a digital one or the manual pen, pencil, anything relevant. So what is PLC? is just an abbreviation for professional learning community. Even though we are bad with time, we are not in a physical space, but in this virtual space that you and I find ourselves, it is a community. And whatever thing that you are doing, you are deemed as a professional because you are working as a teacher for that matter, even though per the NTC regulation, to be deemed a professional means you are obtain a license. But in this era that you and I find ourselves, we are either you are in the stage of attaining that professional status per NTC regulation, but in that indirectly you are a professional. So professional learning community is like we in this virtual space, we are in a community. Or for that matter, school-based insects. So school-based in-service training. All right. So per today's session, we will find out the rationale of PLC, and we'll just articulate some challenges in the current educational model or the current institutional model. We'll try to understand professional learning communities and the impact of teaching learning, teacher learning, and learner achievement. We will understand how PLCs are organized. PLCs are into the roles you and I play and other stakeholders play in PLC. They will shift our attention to thinking from teaching to learning. All right. So what are some of the existing structures in GES? You know, so currently, trends in mathematics science, which is called James, a study in 2007 revealed that most Ghanaian teachers spend more time assigning indirect instruction and none at all in professional development and collaboration. So a study conducted showed that most teachers will spend our time teaching, but to develop ourselves professionally by having that little space of in-service to also learn so that we can teach, we fail to do that. And there is a Ministry of Education 2014, and in the book Inspiring Science and Mathematics in Basic School, this was in page 25, this was outlined. Also, in implementing the pre-tertiary professional development and management policy by GES, there is a policy to manage the professional status of teachers, of professional conduct, of teaching and learning. In that, the Ministry of Education also saw it that existing training manuals for teaching of learning of science and mathematics were not substantial to encourage teaching and learning. All right, so at this juncture, I just want you to observe and comment on these models. Please observe and comment on these models. I know you have your writing parts, you have your notebooks, you have your writing parts, you have your notebooks. So kindly comment. Kindly comment and write down the diagram that you see. Write a comment, write a note. So I believe whatever you wrote, please compare to what is up we're about to see. Please compare with what we are about to see. Now, in PLC, we try to, as teachers, to teach a challenge. we try as teachers to teach a challenge.
What are you talking about? Thank you.
Mr. Agbe, please, unmute yourself and continue.
All right. So, as you have said, the concept of PLC is that PLC is a reflective practice, or we are trying to reflect on our teaching, our learning and assessment as professional teachers, or as professional teachers to be, or as teachers. And what are we teaching? We are teaching challenging areas in our various fields. In that, we self-assess initial thoughts, like whatever you are teaching, there are some areas that fall short or they are challenging. In that, we interact as teachers in the community, like how you and I are having right now. So, and we revise our thoughts. In that, we collaboratively learn through group work to practice. And in practicing, we move forward to have a certain outcome such that it will influence other future engagement in terms of your teaching, in terms of your learning, and in terms of your assessment. All right. Now, let's observe this further concept of PLC. As initial teacher, I know most of us have gone through either a certain form of training. If you are a private school teacher, probably through the experiences of how the teacher was teaching at the various second cycle or first cycle, you learn the art of teaching. Probably you've not learned teaching is an art and a science, in the sense that an art means the personal traits of the teacher comes into play. A science means you learn it as a course of study. So probably you have learned the art through your teacher, and through that you part initial teacher education. In other aspects also, some teachers who have gone through teacher training from teacher training institutions, such as the colleges of education, such as private colleges of education, such as the universities. Those have had initial teacher education. And per the new regulations on teacher professionalism, after your initial teacher education, you are inducted. So you need to join the initial teacher education. It's like you are learning to teach, in that you teach as well. In the induction stage, a mentor or a coach supervises your actions and inactions as a teacher. So from that stage, when the teacher comes out and as you are teaching, how do you continuously professionally develop yourself? So there is a gap, and PLC fills in that gap. So PLC is a continuing professional development. And here we try to put the word continuing and not continuous, because continuing means you are continuing whatever you've learned in the classroom, out of the classroom as a teacher. So what comes into continuing professional development? Please, let's look at the diagram and let's write what comes into continuing professional development. Please observe from the diagram what comes into it and what are you doing about it. There is training, there is learning, there is growth, there is marketing, there is work. It aims at success. So these are the elements of continuing professional development that PLC seeks to achieve. So would you say PLC is relevant or is not relevant? ask yourself. All right. So in whatever POC session that you do in the classroom, we'll be going through the processes of how you do it. But in that, it is modeled in the various ways of teaching or the various aspects of teaching, whereby in a typical lesson, you have the starter, which is just to arouse attention and to engage for learning activity. Then we have the main learning, and of course the plenary, which is a reflective stage. So we just want to elicit that starter to gain your attention. I know I have your attention, but still we just want to have a little starter. So starter is just the main stage of a lesson, or it's just like the introduction. But starter is more or less to engage your attention. To engage your attention, however relevant, whatever you're coming to learn. Starter, the main focus of a starter is to engage your attention, to what? Arouse that and sustain your interest for the lesson. All right. I know somebody say, oh, why this math thing and all those things. All right. Kindly take out your pen again or your digital device and observe these challenges and try to work your way around it. Start not about the answer, but it's about gaining your attention. So please work your way around it. There are puzzles, there are mathematical sentences, there are mathematical questions. Just work your way around it. As to enjoy your PLC organization, you can also decide to use games, songs, action, jokes, anything that will be quite engaging to your learners or to the audience. And here we're talking about teachers meeting together. So these are different ways that can influence your starter. All right. PLC in action again. We are saying that PLC improves teacher conceptual understanding by what? Solving problems together. And we reflect together. What are some of the things that challenges in your lesson? What are some of the challenges in your school? And how best can you work towards solve those issues? And PLC is there to do that. Can we say we'll not do PLC? All right. Once again, enjoying PLC, the teaching force can come together and plan on teaching learning resources, teaching learning materials that they will use, so they can use that stage to make teaching learning resources, to share ideas, to brainstorm, and come out with various manipulatives, various materials, various resources that will be relevant to teaching, learning, and assessment. All right, so the challenge you and I face is that teachers need to move away from that prescriptive procedural pedagogies. And I'll be very glad if whoever is beside you, can you ask him, what do you think is prescriptive and procedural pedagogies? Of course, the curriculum has been prescribed to you. The textbook has been prescribed to you. The teacher's guide has been prescribed to you. Do you have to be so rigid to it? Of course, you need to follow it. But these are guiding tools. These are meant to elicit more understanding from you, such that you can develop yourself to move away. And how are you moving away from these prescriptive pedagogies or prescriptive and procedural pedagogies? You need to incorporate games. You need to incorporate mental mathematics. You need to incorporate investigation. You need to incorporate inquiry and inquiry-based teaching.
Wait, please unmute yourself. Please, please.
Thank you once again.
The noise is too much. Mute yourself, please. If I will continue.
Thank you once again. And as we are saying, we need to move away from the prescriptive and procedural pedagogies, which is more or less limiting us in terms of our learning, and it is having an impact on our learners. So here we need to what? Move away and be using games, mental mathematics, investigation, problem solving, and collaborative problem solving approaches. And it's not limited to this, but we need to explore more avenues of helping our learners to learn. Most often, teachers are inclined to teach, but we don't even move further to help our learners, to teach our learners to learn. Learning is a process, and for that matter, we need to even teach our learners how they to learn what we are even teaching. That is why the outcome shows that most learners are not learning what teachers are teaching. And PLC is meant to answer these vital questions, that we enable our learners to learn how to teach whatever we are teaching, such that there is an improvement in learning outcomes, such that performance is what is upgraded. Thank you very much. So PLC in a nutshell is part of the teacher reforms, and it's ensuring what teacher continued professional development. And this has been rebranded what professional learning community. In that, it's what school-based. In that, it can also be what cluster-based. That is whereby a group of schools in a particular area come together to elicit learning from other sources. So that is what PLC in a nutshell. All right. So more or less, it's a collegial group of actors. So here, teachers at a various level or at a mixed level. So colleagues. And who are we talking about? Teachers, school administrators, CISOs, or supervisors. They unite together and commit to learners learning. How best are we going to ensure? So that is the concept of PLC. In other words, PLC is more or less like information and strategies of best practices. So it's like we teachers are meeting to focus on how to transform CPD activities so that it positively impacts on the learning of all learners. So it's coming together, and that insert over there, you can see teachers together, and of course, head teachers or colleagues who are much endowed. When they meet, please give them something, at least some water or some drink, something for the stomach, you know, it's not only the mind. All right. So when they meet, we share together through drinking. And as you are drinking, it enhances that social dialogue between teachers, such that we are forging forward to impact on the learning positively. All right. So PLC has that growth transformative approach in the sense that it's like the teaching process is fixed with the curriculum, but in PLC, we relate it to the relevance of that area, the challenges in that school, the challenges in your teaching, such that it's like we are identifying the problems in the school or in the class. We are trying to find solutions, and are the solutions working? How are they working? How can we improve upon it? So PLC is more or less like action research model. And that is what we are saying, PLC, the advantages, why we have to do PLCs. All right. So the CPD approaches of the training approach, as we said, it's like the research or the action research, identification of problems, interventions, and how are the interventions working, and how best we can improve on practice. So that is what we are saying. So PLC, as you can see, is designed to address perceived defects. And as we have said, we identify problems, we identify successes. And here, let me be quick to say, it's not only about problems, but to identify successes. What is working? Something is working for you as a teacher. Share it with your colleagues so that they also learn from it. So the identification is not only about defects. Defects can be positive or negative. Most of when we say defect, our minds go to the negative aspect. By defect, it simply means deviation from the norm. And the norm, as we know, can be right or left. So it can be positive or negative. So these are some of the things, the approaches of PLC or the CPD. All right. So basically, I don't know how the school wants to conduct PLC, but the school should decide. The school or the group of actors, be it the head, the teachers, the supervisor, the proprietor or proprietress, they have to decide, are we going to have a PLC weekly, fortnightly,